Okay, so this is Yeshua here from K1. I wanted to make this video here just so you can kind of see the Majestic set and how ridiculously overpowered this Majestic set is right now. I wanted to kind of inform players, but also potentially, hopefully, the devs. Some dev will click on this and be able to see, what is going on, because, to me, it really is amazing to me, because, the fact that you can allow this kind of an imbalance in a game, really just blows my mind, and it makes me wonder if the devs and the GMs that are even playing the same game as me, because it's like you would think that they have a test server and they test these kind of things prior to the release, but to me this is just a major imbalance, and I think it's going to get even worse in the future in the gameplay in this, unless something's done or there's some kind of a fix that's done. Unfortunately for me, I've already been on the benefactor of the screw up here, and it's not going to help me any, but I figured I'd help some of you guys who are playing the game currently, to remind you to stay shielded, because right now it's really abysmal here, in terms of what this looks like. So let me just walk through some stuff. So here are the four main sets, I think, that would be like the better sets that have been released recently. The Slaughter, Agility, Outcry, and Majestic were released in the last patch. Dark Lord was released prior to that. Dark Lord was considered to be an end game set by the developers and the GMs. So keep that in mind in this, and they did a really good job with this set in terms of how powerful it was, and also how they released it. If they had done that with this gear on a slow release instead of it just being viable on the market, I think this could have been a really cool release of gear. Minus this Majestic set, I think it's way overpowered, but we'll get into it. It's more so overpowered by the fact that you can just buy it on the at free will. But anyway, let's get into some different things. So these Slaughter sets and the Agility, they're just the basic attack sets that mimic the other sets. They just have a T2 additional damage, and they're a little higher infantry and defense. They're just kind of mediocre sets, in my opinion, at this point. I would not waste any of your money on these sets under any circumstances at this point, because even double these and you rally somebody with a Dark Lord, you're really not going to do any damage. We've got a guy that has, double Slaughter or something. We tried rallying. It really just doesn't do anything. The only thing they would be good for is just hitting T2 on the bottom, people that still have T2s and stuff. And we'll go through that. But there's way better way to do this with Majestic now at this point. So this is the main thing I want to look at today, is the Majestic set. Let's go down here. You're basically looking at an enemy troop attack debuff of 1900%, then some defense and HP debuffs of about 540%. So if you were to get a plus 15 Majestic set, it's going to cost you $10,000 on the market, or $7,500 if you use a loader, or $7,100, I don't know, whatever your loader is. If you get two of them, because you now have a guard deputy that gives you 50%, you'd be looking at somewhere in the ballpark of about 3,000% attack debuff on this. So that's what you'd be looking at. Now let's take a look at the endgame Dark Lord set here, which is 1,890% attack, same exact troop attack and defense buffs. So the Majestic set will completely nullify that Dark Lord set if you're able to even get a plus 15 set, which at this point in the game, I don't think anybody has it. I could be wrong. Maybe some of the big players have that stuff. But at this point, I don't think anybody has it. So right away, the Majestic set will completely nullify a defensive Dark Lord set. So that makes the Dark Lord or any other set at all that you use aside from Majestic has been completely nullified for defense purposes. And in order to defend against a Majestic or two Majestic, you would need two Dark Lord sets, and then that would totally negate everything. Now, here's where the main problem comes in. They have added a place in a feature of the game where it allows you to join a rally, and then the people that are joining the rally with their heroes and guard or heroes and deputies, they add a 10% boost to the overall statistics of the rally leader. So you can basically, in addition to nullifying all of the statistics of a guard captain using the Majestic set, you then get additional attack buffs or additional debuffs if you wanted, depending on what is used for the people who join the rally. So the problem with that is that defensively, in defense, there is no comparable defense. So when people join you with reinforcements, you don't get the benefit of any of their heroes. So there's a huge imbalance. So let's just say 10 people join you with a maxed out slaughter set. You'd be looking at a 2,250% attack buff, plus whatever else, the additional deputies have. So that, which would be huge. I mean, it would just exterminate anybody, because it would basically mean a 2,200% attacker is attacking you with 0 buffs. It would be like you having no guard captain, which it would basically just zero anybody or come close to, basically it's like a 0. I mean, it's going to be it's just very impossible to defend against. So that's the problem here. So we have basically an imbalance of the attacker versus the defender. The attacker has this massive advantage, and really there is no defense. So let's just say I was crazy enough that tomorrow I went out and I bought myself 2 Majestic sets for $15,000 on the shop as a defense. There would still be a total negation of my Majestic set here, from the attacker, and then they would get an additional attack advantage, and you would still be very, very easily zeroed. So here's the next problem. Well, actually, before I tell you the next problem, let's just go to some of my attacks. Most of you guys know by now that I was zeroed on K1 by Tess or Bake or whoever was playing, these accounts that Tess has. Okay, here we go. So here, as you can see, it's a 3,000% enemy troop debuff. I'm not exactly sure the composition that he had. I would imagine he's running 2 max Majestics, or he's running Majestics and other people are joining with Majestics. But anyway, 3,000% attack debuff. So even if I had myself 2 Majestic sets fully maxed out, I would be completely nullified. Everything would be completely nullified. Or even if I had 2 Dark Lord sets completely maxed out, all my statistics would be completely nullified. Now go down here. He has, because of the joined people, he's got an archer attack of 2,500 people who have joined with obviously archer gear. So here's the damage. They obviously sent archers. They basically took out 126 million T2 siege and 26 million T3 siege. You can go watch Bake's video. There was another attack on Rika, same exact setup, and it took out 64 million T3 siege in one shot, just to give you an idea, because it's hard to see with the T2. They get whacked pretty easily now. And the next hit was obviously a little lighter, because he got, he didn't have the T2 that he was exterminating, or she, I'm not sure who was playing the account. And then look at what happens here. He took out the T3, went into my T4, and then took out all of my T5, one shot. The third hit took out all of my half of my T6. Here, I'll show you. Which was, I guess I was lucky, if you want to call it. They all go to the infirmary. That's a bug, by the way. That Netmarble still is not fixed, but I got lucky. Those guys went to the infirmary. You just were able to resurrect them. It was really easy. And then the next hit, they destroyed everything and zeroed me. So, just to give you an idea, I was the benefactor of the imbalance here, which was really interesting. They knew that coming. Bake's really smart with that kind of stuff. Obviously, he knows the mechanics of the game. So by Netmarble doing this, a lot of my guys on my server were, fucked up pretty bad. I was zeroed. The rest of the guys were able to shield. I was in the middle of doing something. But long story short, Majestic is way overpowered. There is no defense for it. So, you guys just need to stay shielded, because no matter what you do, they're gonna negate you, and then have additional attacks. So until Netmarble does something where they allow maybe when heroes come at your castle and reinforce you, you get a 20% buff, which would give you some kind of a defense. Or they just need to really nullify. Really nerf the Majestic set. At least 50%. I would say more, because it's just, even at 50%, you're still going to be, when they release the third guard captain, Tess and Baker, still going to have a 3,000% debuff, which is, it just, nobody's going to go and buy, 4 Majestic sets for defense. That would be the only defense against this, is to basically buy 4 Majestic sets, or maybe have like 1 Dark Lord set plus 15 and 3 Majestic sets. It's like, it's just crazy. Nobody's going to be able to do that. So, they really need to look at this, because it's going to get worse and worse with the release of the next 2 guard deputies. So, anyway, I hope the devs see this. I hope you guys see this. My best advice is to just shield, because there's no reason to play this game. There's no reason to waste all your money. I was able to resurrect a lot of my troops and stuff. I still have probably more than most people in this game, but you just need to shield, because the game is really imbalanced. And if I were you, I would, I don't know if I would even waste your time getting these Majestics yet until you see them, change and balance the game. I would imagine they're going to do something with nerfing this. They said in the recent patch that they're making some adjustments, quote unquote, to the game. I would imagine it's around this. If not, these guys are just completely fucking retarded, and don't really know what they're doing. And this is just another example why nobody in their right mind should play this game, IronThrone, anymore. The majority of the people that I know that were big spenders have quit the game. You're out of your mind if you come to this game, at this point. Honestly, I wouldn't even recommend spending at this point on this game any further. But anyway, I hope I can help you guys not get zeroed. Hope this video helps to some level. And, just wanted to say hi from K1. Love you guys, and talk soon.